Hi guys, today I am going to discuss the importance of ethics for civil servants. Now, what is ethics for civil servants? So please listen this word very carefully. Ethics provide accountability between the public and the administrations. Adhering to the code of ethics ensure that the public receive what need in fair manners. It also gives the administration guideline for integrity in their operations. Civil servants are motivated by a sense of duty to serve. Ethics gives the administration guideline for integrity in their operation. Now, ethics provide accountability. Point 1, ethics provide accountability. Ethics provide accountability ethics provide accountability between the public between the public between the public between the public and administration and administration administration Importance of ethics for civil servant. Importance of ethics for civil servant. Under it we will discuss ethics provide accountability between the public and administrations. Adhering to the code of ethics, adhering to the code of ethics. Adhering to the code of ethics. Adhering to the code of ethics. Ensure that the public receive. It ensure that public receive public. It ensure that public receive what it need in a fair manners. What it need in a fair manner. What it need in a fair manner. It also gives the administration guideline. It also gives the administration guideline. It also gives the administration guideline for integrity in their operation. For integrity in their operation. Integrity in their operation. In their operation. In their operation. Civil servants are motivated by civil servants are motivated by civil servant are motivated by civil servants are motivated by civil servants are motivated by a sense of duty to serve, by a sense of duty to serve, sense of duty to serve, sense of duty to serve. Ethics gives the administration, next point, ethics give the administration, ethics give the administration, gives the administration ethics give the administrations guideline for integrity, guideline for integrity, guideline for integrity in their operation, in their operation. Understood? Okay, just keep in mind, civil servants are motivated by a sense of duty to serve. First, and next point is that ethics give the administrations guideline for integrity in their operation. Next, next point is that public service ethics are public service ethics, public service ethics are prerequisite prerequisite, public service ethics are prerequisite underpinning prerequisite and underpinning of public trust, of public trust. Understood? Public service ethics are prerequisite and underpinning of public trust. Keystone of, it is a keystone of, it is a keystone of, it is a keystone of good governance. Public service ethics are prerequisite and underpinning of public trust and keystone of good governance. Next point is that citizen respect public servant, citizens respect public servant, respect public servant, citizen expect public servant to serve the public, to serve the public, to serve the public interest with, to serve the public interest with, to serve the public interest with, interest with fairness. Fairness. Key point. Understood? Citizen expect public servant to serve the public interest with fairness. It means that to understand, citizens always want to something for civil servant, do some work in a fairness way. Next. Next point is that, next point, democratic values has a quality. Point 2, democratic values such as equality, democratic value such as equality, law and justice, law and justice have moral connection, have a moral connection, require a strong commitment, require a strong commitment from civil servant, commitment from civil servant. Okay, pay attention please. Democratic values such as equalities, law and justice have a moral connection, require a strong commitment from civil servants. Next point. Next point is that public administration should be efficient. Public service should be efficient, public service should be efficient, but it is even more, important that it should be ethical. It should be ethical. Public service should be efficient. Point 1 should be efficient, but it is even more important that it should be ethical. key point. Next is that Charter Bernard has described that Bernard has described the ethical conduct or moral behavior governed by belief or feeling of what is right and wrong, rightfulness of a self-interest or immediate consequence of decisions to do or not to do specific things under particular condition. Next point is that the problem of ethical conduct of public official arises by virtue of the power and influence that the commands and the commitment that undertake of loyal and disinterested service to the public. Next point is that attribute of moral administrator. Attribute of moral administrator. Attribute of moral administrator. Attributes of moral administrator. A sense of responsibility. Under it we will discuss the qualities of moral administrator. Point 1, a sense of responsibility. It is very essential to have a sense of responsibility in any administrative officer. Next, a sense of responsibility. Point 1, a sense of responsibility. A sense of responsibility. Point 2, Point 1, a sense of responsibility. Point 2, skills in communication and personal administration. Skills in communication and personal administration. Skills in communications and personal administrations. Point third is ability to cultivate and utilize institutional resources. Ability to cultivate and utilize institutional resources. Next point, Next point is that willingness to engage in problem solving, willingness to engage in to willingness to engage in problem solving, problem solving, problem solving, willingness to engage in problem solving and to work with other as a team, and to work with other as a team, to work with other as a team, as a team. Next, personal confidence to initiate new ideas. Personal confidence to initiate new ideas. Personal confidence to initiate new ideas. To initiate new ideas. Personal confidence to initiate new ideas. Next point is that prefer to be influenced by public need. Prefer to be influenced by public need. Prefer to be influenced by public need. Public need. Interest and sensitivity. Public need, interest and sensitivity. Public need, interest and sensitivity. That's important. Next, rather than resorting to the use of bureaucratic power. Rather than use of raw bureaucratic power. Rather than use of raw bureaucratic power. Bureaucratic power. Raw bureaucratic power. Next point is that Next point is that 10 commandments for an administrator. 10 commandments. 10 commandments for administrator. Ten commandments for administrator. Under it we will discuss commandment of administrator. Point 1. Most important factor in administrations is conviction in human relationship. Most important factor. Point 1. Most important most important factor in administration, factor in most important factor in administration, most important factor in administration is conviction, is conviction, is conviction in human relationship, in human relationship, in human relationship. Understand this point? Next point is point 2. A good administrator should try, a good administrator should try to a good administration should try to anticipate the behavior of people, try to anticipate the behavior of people, the behavior of people, behavior of people. Next, next point is that the administrations must be functionally, the administration must be functionally active, which means he should have his own source of, he should have his own source of information, own source of information, source of information. Next, administration should be clear in communication. Administration, next point, administration should be administrator should be clear in communication, should be clear in communication. In communication, most important factor, administration should be clear in communications. The administrative officers always try in a clear cut way of anything which is related to the public service. That's important factor for every IS, IPS, IRS officers. Next point, The administrator should avoid the administrator the administrator should avoid should avoid should avoid the administrator should avoid sharp departure from sharp sharp departure from the accepted policy from the accepted policy accepted policy accepted policy. Next, next point, the administration should undertake intensive touring. The administrator should undertake should undertake should undertake should undertake intensive touring to be close to people to be close to people and workers at the cutting edge and workers at the cutting edge at the cutting edge. Next point is that the administrators should enlist public cooperation without being propagandist. The administrators should enlist public cooperation without being propagandist. Next point is that the administrators should ensure that the unity of command in departure is not disrupted. Next point, the administrator is a trustee of public interest. The administrator is a trustee of public interest. And not a ruler over public and not a ruler over public, a ruler over public. Next point, Next point is that over public. Public official need to cope with primary cluster of roles. Public relationship, public official need to, next point, public official public official public official public official need to cope with public official need to cope with four primary cluster, four primary cluster of rules. Point 1, public official need to cope with four primary cluster of rules. Under it we will discuss his role in his personal and family sphere. His roles in his personal his roles in his personal and family sphere Next point 2. Point 2. Have any problem? Point 2. His role as a professional. His role as a professional. Next point. His role toward his jurisdiction. His role toward his jurisdiction. His role towards his jurisdiction. Community. Jurisdiction, community, and work influence. Next point. His role toward his jurisdiction, community, and work influence. His role towards society and humanity. His roles towards society, his roles towards society and humanity at large, Next point. Public servant must have to adjust with cluster of rules. Each role in the cluster has different concerns, values, and standard of behavior, each marked by mix of ethical claim. Some duties are responsibilities and informals, full stop. Others are obligation and formal. Next point. Values, standard and ethics in public life are major concerns since earlier time in administrative system. Ethics, whether in entire society or in a social subsystem, evolves with ancient time and is influenced during the nurtures and growth by a variety of environmental factors. Next point. Ethical behavior and decisions maintaining citizens' trust, guarantee effective use of resources, full stop, and allow the government to preserve individual effective use of resources and allow the government to preserve individual right and assisting those who will benefit the most. Ethics is one of the prime component that allow democracy to succeed in any country. Next point. For bureaucracy, adherence to high level public service values can produce substantial public trust and assurance. Next point. As a public administration values are developed through an interaction of self, situation and society. It is important the values are therefore periodically re-examined and challenged. Next point. Public service organizations operate in environments through an interactions of self, situation and society. Next, ethical consideration for public administrator. Next point. Next point. Ethical consideration for public administrator. Ethical consideration. Ethical consideration. Ethical consideration. Ethical consideration for public administrator. For public administrator. Administrator. For public administrator. For public administrator. Point 1. Ethical democratic professional. Ethical democratic professional and people. Professional and people. Ethical, democratic, professional and public. People, sorry. People. Integrity, rule of law. Ethical, integrity, ethical, integrity. Next, rule of law. Rule of law. Next, professional effectiveness. Effectiveness and caring. Next, fairness. Fairness. Neutrality. fairness, neutrality, efficiency, and fairness. Next, accountability, accountability, service and tolerance. Service and tolerance. Service and tolerance. Next point. Next, loyalty, next point, loyalty, leadership, loyalty, leadership, and decency, DECENCY, decency. Next, respect, responsiveness, innovation and craze, Next is that honesty, representative, representatives, quality and benevolence, Next is that probity, next probity, legality, creativity and humanity, Understood? Ethical consideration for public administration. This is a ethical consideration of public administrations. All these qualities should be kept in the mind. So, thank you very much, all of you.